You do get that. Like as you approach like luxury levels of things, the functionality goes way down, and you've got to be really careful with them. And it's like, who are these people spending more money on shittier stuff? I don't understand it. And I feel like that happens a lot in technology as well. Like all the fancy stuff is like, oh, you be very careful with it.
Well, I think it's the status thing. It's like, I can spend, it's like, I have so much money, I can just spend it on this disposable shit. Because guess what? If my ruddy shoes that cost $100 fall apart, doesn't matter. Buy a new pair. I don't care. I have the money.
I have a pair of them because every time it rains, I just toss them into the bin.
I've got so much fucking money.
Let me tell you something that'll infuriate you then. I remember I read this. I had to look it up. So, is everyone familiar with that luxury car, the Bugattis?
Yeah.
Yes.
Super expensive vehicle. An oil change on a Bugatti costs between $20,000 and $25,000.
Do they have to?
An oil change for a car costs as much as another car.
Are they between the atoms of the oil tank to get to the oil? What do they need? What do they need? Are they using diamond tools to get it out? What's happening?
Diamond oil?
It cost $20,000, but they still print it out on that dot matrix, like 70-year-old paper. Like you still get one of those old ass Jiffy Lube receipts. Yeah,
it uses a dry sump oiling system with 16 different drain plugs, accessible after removing parts of the underbody. It looks like you have to remove the car's rear fender liners and rear deck. So you have to take part of the car apart in order to change the oil.
Do they just not want a little plug on the bottom?
No, they have 16 plugs, Gavin.
Well, do they not?
Well, don't you understand? 16 is better than 1.
It's like those fancy Bogs that people get, where it's like it like washes your asshole and stuff. But it's like a lot of them, they have like a powerful pump that needs to be plugged in. So if you have a power cut, you're left with like an issue where you can't flush it, and you've got to like crack open and do like a secret manual flush. It's like that's just way more effort. Like that's paying way more money than a normal Bog to potentially be stuck with a turd that won't go down. I think they have like got around that problem, but with the earlier ones, it was like, yeah, your shit will just sit there until the power comes back.
So I just decided to look. I was curious. Sorry, I'm stuck on how ridiculous a Bugatti is. I had to look something else up. Apparently, replacing the tires, a set of tires will cost you between $30,000 and $42,000, and the tires need to be replaced every 2,500 miles. So about every 3,000 miles, you're changing your oil and your tires. So you're spending like $50,000 to $60,000 every 3,000 miles to drive the car.
So what is that per
buy
mile?
Another luxury car for that price.
Yeah, and also I guess the miles per gallon probably not great on that. The added cost of the fuel. What does it cost per mile to drive that?
Let's say if it's 60, just doing these maintenance, $60,000 per 3,000 miles. I mean, that's what, $20 a mile independent of gas.
I for one am pro this Bugatti and its system, because this if anything I'm pro anything that soaks at the dumbest rich people for all of their money. Like this is an absolute scam, and if any rich shithead is falling for it, they deserve to be taken coming and going.
It's so expensive that if you were to give that car for free to the majority of people,
I couldn't afford it.
They would lose money using it. They'd have to just sell it. It would cost you more money to maintain it than you might make in a year.
That's so it gets 7 miles to the gallon in the city. And in chat over here, I'm looking at chat. Sombris says at top speed, this Bugatti, the Veyron, will run out of tires in 15 minutes, but it runs out of gas in 10.
It's just like the upper echelon of madness when money just means nothing.
Peter H does bring up a great point in chat. It's not a car for driving.
It's a good point.
Yeah, it's a car to be buried in, because that would be your tomb. If I got that car, now you better believe that would be my fucking coffin, because Jesus Christ, for that amount of money.
You're definitely living in it, right? It's like,
yeah.
That's more than my like this. Being in this car costs more than being in my house. Oh my god. Oh, yeah, and obviously that car probably, I assume, costs way more than my house. How much does that car cost?
I would love to know which owner of a Bugatti Veyron has the least amount of money. Like, is there someone who just saved up? What does it cost? Like $1 million? Couple of million? $2 million?
I'm trying to find it.
Did anyone just save to the point where it's like, I can now afford this. This is all I can afford. And they bought it. Or do you need to have like 10 or 50 times the value in cash to buy that? Like, who is the poorest person with a Bugatti Veyron?
The Veyron costs $2 million.
Right? Okay, so someone's like, I'm gonna earn like $3 million. I'm gonna pay like a shitload of tax. I'm gonna spend the rest on a Veyron. I guess you could write it off if it was for.
Who's the person who had
if you were living in it?
Stretch. They had to stretch to get the Veyron. They had to like. Well,
I would love to know. I would love to know who that is, and like, they must be a super enthusiast. Like, it makes them so happy, and they work towards it for so long. They were like, yes, but it's like, it's a money pit, man.
I don't know.
You'd have to have a spare $1 million just to keep it around.
Just the farm fresh idiot who had to scrimp and save just to afford this fucking car that is just an anchor around their neck.
They're just doing like Uber Eats. Just
I got picked up
for this curse.
Your pizza's gonna be hot as hell.
I hope you leave $1,000 tip for it.
I got picked up in an Uber one time. It was a truck, really nice truck, massive truck, but on like what are those giant monster tires that you had to have they put down a ladder so that I could get into this Uber. Like I couldn't so I had to like climb up this Uber. I mean, I when it showed up and I was like going from the bar, I'm like, it's towering above all the other cars. And I'm just talking with the dude in it. And I was like, so this is quite the truck. He's like, yeah, it's been everything I had on it. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah. I mean, these tires alone, they each cost like 10 grand or something like that. Or I don't, that may not be, it's not exact, but it was like, I was like, in my head, I was like, what? He's like, I was like, what kind of mileage you get on this? He's like, oh, not the best, like around 10. And I was like, oh, okay. And then in my head, I was like, how is he making money doing Uber? Like, and he said he had to like he had to change the tires more than normal because they were giant tires that like would die. It just made no sense to me. And I was like, well, thanks for the ride. I'm gonna climb down your ladder now.
I bet these people are actually very smart though, because selling a Veyron probably is worth more than when you bought it. I mean, if they don't make them anymore.
Let me see if I can find one on eBay.
On eBay? Is that where you buy? That's what you sell a Veyron?
Oh, look, Bugatti.
The auction has ended. God damn it.
I
can buy a Bugatti here on eBay.
How much?
Buy it now. Buy it now.
There's a 2011 Bugatti Veyron for $1.7 million.
See, that's a good return. That's like, that guy's probably had it for 5 years and he's lost maybe $300,000 on it. But that's it.
Well, that's not counting the tires and the oil changes.
The tires, yeah.
Wife, children who refuse to be seen with him. He's lost them too.
Someone in chat calling me out because my dream car is an Aston Martin. An Aston Martin is a lot cheaper than a Bugatti Veyron. You can get Aston Martin for like 50 grand second hand.
You get an Aston Martin for the price of Bugatti tires.
Yeah. You can get like an old one.